Hello everybody, this is J Money here, and today is a very unfortunate day. After about a year of work, my base has finally been found and leaked. It's a very unfortunate thing that has happened, but it is something that we all must come to terms with playing on an Anarchy server. So today, hopefully you guys sit back, crack open a beer, grab a snack, sit back because we got a long video ahead of us. Today we're going to be doing the base tour of my team's base, along with history going along with the entire base. I intend that this is probably going to be a two-part video, since every single private tour I've given so far has lasted well over an hour. So hopefully everyone's prepared and ready for this tour, and let's get it on. Alrighty everybody, so I am doing the tour from a replay mod recording of the entire base. This replay mod recording was taken 2 days before the base was discovered. So this is probably the most up-to-date recording of the base that I have. I also have saved many important builds in the base through Litematica. So I might post the downloads to some of those if some people really want it, but we'll see what happens. Alright, so starting in the first room right here, this is my library. This was built pretty early on. It was one of the first larger kind of projects that I started here. And this is where I stored a lot of the written books that I collected on my travels throughout the server. And this is also kind of like my base of operations. This is usually where I AFK'd. You know, this is where I hung out most of the time, and I was pretty proud of this build. I really did enjoy it. One of the nice things that Genack has provided for us on the server is the armor stand book. The armor stand book, you know, allows you to make custom armor stands that you wouldn't normally be able to do in vanilla Minecraft. So I took, I kind of went a little overboard with that. I like to. All throughout my builds in the base, I would always, you know, put armor stands and statues and all that stuff, because I always thought it was the coolest thing ever. So I have a lot of armor stands. You know, I have all these written books I've collected over the my travels, and then down the stairs here in the basement, this is where I stored all the enchantment books. So, you know, organize them all by enchantments and kind of, you know, what, you know, weapons and armor they would go on to. So it was a pretty nice system that, you know, I made right here, and I'm pretty happy how it turned out too. It all turned out pretty well. One of the bonuses of, you know, building underground, since this entire base is underground, is that I don't really have to worry about how it looks on the outside. I'll have to really, you know, because it's all stone and all around, so all I have to worry about the inside. So it's a little bit more easier, I guess you could say, for building. But yeah, so we're gonna continue the replay recording, and we're gonna continue on over this way. And I'll pause it right here. So this is the storage room. This is, I would say, the second iteration of the storage room. So in this room over here, which I'll go over next, that was the OG room. This is where the base first started. Like little background history. The base was founded on October 7th of 2022 by a player and close friend of mine named Dr. Squids. Dr. Squids logged on one day, traveled all this way, and then I hopped on a day later and traveled here, and this was our kind of first little base of operations, was this room right here. We had the villager breeder that's always been in that same exact spot. This is kind of like our little workstation. This used to be like the enchanting table area. This, where the statues used to be, this was all, you know, this was our first storage room in a sense for, you know, a little beginner starter base. So it did pretty well. And then over here was the NASDAQ, which is our villager trading hall, which is pretty big for its size. There's multiple floors that go all the way down to a whole nother level. And then right here is, you know, our little meeting area. We had a, it's not shown in the replay, but there's a map of the entire base with a directory using banners. Because of how big the base is and how confusing it is, people will get lost in it all the time. So I made a giant map right here of the base, and there's a little directory. So, you know, if you're looking for a certain farm or build or something like that, you can look it up in the directory. Like, oh, it's over here, and then, you know, wander your way over there. And then this was the to-do wall. This is one of my best ideas I think I've had for a Minecraft playthrough with friends. If you're ever bored one day and you're like, damn, I have nothing to do, you come over here and then, oh, look at all these things that unfortunately we were never able to complete. We always kept this board updated. There was always things to do, and you know, it was one of the things that really helped us like continue playing. Because I know for some people get bored, maybe like, you know, after they defeat the Ender Dragon or they get their Elytra, and it's like, okay, you know, there's something more for me to do. This really helped keep everybody like busy in a sense, and kind of kept the interest in, you know, the game alive for so long. So I'm pretty proud of, you know, this idea, even though it's not really like that grand of a thing compared to some of the other stuff in the base. But if anyone else is, you know, in a group or has trouble with motivation for playing the game, highly recommend doing a to-do wall because it's going to keep you busy. But yeah, so also in this room, village breeder, I already mentioned that. Down here is the barn where we had auto sheep and the first auto sugarcane farm. This was the first farm that I had made in the base. Was this auto sugarcane farm. It wasn't really all too, you know, special or nothing like that. As you can see, it's, you know, just observers and pistons with a minecart underneath. But it did its job, and it produced us a lot of sugarcane. And later on we built more, but, you know, it's a nice little thing I'm pretty proud of that, you know, it worked for about a year. Over here is like our wool storage for all the different colors of wool, and this was our little wool farm. Yeah, and then this was the subway area. So with the villager breeder, you know, villagers do their thing. Baby pops out, baby runs over here, drops in over here, and all you have to do is push a button. Minecraft would pick up a villager and puts them right here. And the subway system, another one of my ideas was to, you know, build a subway system that would go to, you know, every single part of the base. For main purpose was for transporting like mobs, mostly villagers, but you know, you can also ride it too. And that was kind of like one of the things. So it's like, you know, no one really uses minecarts anymore because the Elytras and, you know, ice roads with boats are faster, and so, you know, the time to set it up, it's usually not worth it. But moving villagers and using villagers and builds was pretty easy with this system. Just, you know, oh, I need, you know, I want to use some villagers for my build over here, or I'm making something over here that needs villagers, you know. Okay, and then I run up, make a new subway to that new area, and then there was a control panel here where it will control all the junctions. We didn't have every single junction hooked up, but you were able to just, you know, flip a couple levers, like, oh, I need this, you know, to go to, I don't know, let's say, you know, the iron farm, right? Flip a couple levers, press that button, and that villager will automatically go to the iron farm. No hassle needed, no extra tracks, no moving them on boats. Pretty nice and simple. So that was a pretty nice system that we devised. I'm going to be expanding upon that on the new base that we're working on, so we can have like a full control room in every single junction, you know, controlled in one area. So that'll be pretty nice. And then also we had a light switch. All the lights in the base, or a majority of the lights in the base, were controlled by this one light switch right here. So if you ever want to, you know, Bravo 6 going dark, boom, switch off that light switch, all the lights in the base shut off. So it was a nice little thing that Dr. Squid's put in right here. But continuing back over here, this is the storage room 2.0. There's another storage room right here, which was built by Husky, where it was a fully automatic sorting, storage room where you could just, dump a shulker in, and then it would sort everything. But we honestly never really used it, and I kind of feel bad because Husky did put a lot of work into this thing, and it was pretty nice too to have it. But I don't know, we never really got around to using it all that much, but it was done. But we did mostly use this storage room just because I feel like everyone was so used to this and not having to run down 3 giant hallways to go find something you need. It was all more closely together right over here. This also would include bulk storage, that we would call it. It's in another room that's down the stairs over here, where we carry, bulk items of stuff. Like, we don't need to have, 100 shulkers of cobblestone, right? It's like you only need like, a couple up here, and then regular cobblestone in the chest, just to, grab it easy, go do your build. So bulk storage would carry most of the bulk items that, can't really fit all in this one storage room. But I was really happy with, how, considering how primitive this might, look to some, people, it worked pretty well, and I was pretty happy with how, it turned out. But this is where usually people would hang out too all the time. I remember me and Lena, we'd always, with our lights, just try to, parkour, across the, the barrel aisles into the different carpets, and, it was pretty fun to kind of just, do random stuff in the base like that when we were bored. So, that's just another, nice little memory that we all have. And then in the middle here, this is connected to the our giant melon farm that was built by Dr. Squids. And I had the idea of, oh, we have all these melons. That melon farm produces over 10,000 melons an hour. So let's have all the melons, shoot through like a little, item elevator in the storage room. So it's just a constant stream of melons. It looked pretty cool because, back in the day, I used to watch, I think it was called Minecraft on YouTube. It was like a series, and there was this one YouTuber, I think it was, I don't remember who it was. It was either, I think it was Doc M77 or Etho, who had like an old school item elevator. So a little, random trivia, before the 1.13 update where they added, the bubble columns, the only real way to do it was to like have the items glitch into glass blocks on a 3x3, glass blocks, and then they would kind of magically just kind of like rise up. So that's how, people made item, elevators back in the day to make items go up, was to do that little trick with, glitching the items into a 3x3 glass and have them come up. So that was kind of my main inspiration of that. I'd never really done that before in multiplayer world, so I had to go through a storage room, and it was pretty fun. It was pretty funny just to see melons constantly, going through the middle of the storage room. And that's up here. This is the melon hub. This is where we stored all our melons, and for a time being, we were using the melons just to get emeralds, but once we had a really good working raid farm, that was really not the case anymore. So we converted all of it into bone meal, because we would use bone meal a lot for our tree farms. So now the melon just turned into bone meal. So it was just they got converted a little bit later on. And then all these banners right here are all banners that either me or Metal Pumpkin collected during our travels. So if you spot your banner up here, sorry, but took a little souvenir. Some noble ones. This is the Coalition one. I think this is the CO2. I'm trying to think. I think this was from I Love Milk Space. And then this was from a guy named Super Robot that we found. And so on and so forth. But then this was like our base banner too. I took a long time of trying to design it, and I kind of came up with like a, it looked like a skull and crossbones kind of thing, and I thought it looked pretty cool. So that's kind of like, the banner we used like for our group in a sense, but it wasn't really official. I just thought it was cool, and I I put everywhere around the base. But yeah, and then up here, this is the little armor trim room that I added once the 1.20 update dropped, because I figured, hey, why not we make a room just so it's nice and convenient and easy. So this was pretty nice, and I think everyone really enjoyed using kind of this little empty space that we really had nothing for previously. And then add this little hallway that comes up here, which I'll explain in a little bit. And yeah, so we're going to continue the tour. Oh, and also, quick thing I forgot. There's so much shit. Rapid melon chest, feeding melons, funnel from the farm up there, and then auto sorter for the storage room 3.0 by Husky. And then, oh, here's Dr. Squids. And in here, this is the mail room. This was an idea by me to, effectively, leave, stuff for our players. So once we our group kind of grew to, like, I think it was, like, maybe, like, 5 or 6 players, we were like, okay, it's like, I want to give, something to Squids, right? But he's, he's not on, and, I don't know if I'm going to catch him on, so I made this mailbox system. So, you can drop some items in the chest, flicker a light, so then, every time you log on, you come check your mailbox and see if, someone left you anything. And it was a pretty nice system. I highly recommend it, building one if you have a group base with your friends. It just makes, giving items to other people way more easier and very streamlined. And then over here was the shulker unloader made by Husky. You put the shulker of items in here, you press the button, cycles all the items out, puts in the storage room 3.0, and then you get your shulker back. So that was a pretty cool thing that built by Husky. I didn't even know you can build something like that. So then yeah, and then over here is the Mausoleum of Heads. This was built by Greed, and we didn't store all our player heads, but like kind of like the ones for like we've kind of guys like our group. We kind of put them in here. So if you see your head in here, leave a comment. But yeah, so I'm gonna continue the replay. Pause it right here just for a quick second. Over here was just like some back hallway. This kind of leads up to like the little balcony over here in the my library, and then over there I'll show that a little bit later on in the base tour. Then over here I was planning to do like some like redstone workshop. Never really came to anything over here because considering it was so close to the storage room, I figured I'd put something important here, but nothing ever came of it. Over here is a potion storage. This is where we stored all our potions, and then this was the Wuhan potion lab. This is where I mainly brewed potions. So I just had all your different modifiers, and then your different ingredients, and I had a little book here that had all the potion recipes because I don't know why Mojang kind of fucking sucks at making their game, and while they're nerfing villagers and doing all this, chat report bullshit, they never add a crafting like dictionary like they do for smelting and crafting for making potions. So I'm always just, Googling how to make fucking potions because I don't really use potions all that much other than, certain instances for like, water breathing or fire res, right? So I made that book with, tell me how to make all the potions. And, this was manual. We did have an auto potion lab that was in Greedland, but which was built by Greed. But I kind of liked doing it manually because it just kind of seemed more fun to me. I don't know. I felt like a scientist in the lab in here with like the all white scheme, and just brewing potions and all that fun stuff. And then we had a 3x3 piston door here for the entrance. It's the only piston door I think we had in the entire base, ironically, which is pretty funny. But yeah. So continuing down over here, this is the industrial zone. This area was first designed by me, and then Lena kind of did her magic and spiced it up a little bit better. Coming down the stairs right here. This was the this is the Tubman tunnels. This was just like some like underground kind of side tunnels to connect different parts of the base. And then Squids had a little special I don't know, project, I guess you can call it, where he was naming different, you know, animals and mobs in the base after prominent players on the server. So if your name's on here, there was a mob in our base named after you. So had a little special Easter egg. And then in here, this is kind of like the industrial zone. This was like a little like kind of like break room meeting area that I kind of made with some storage chests when I was like digging this all out. And then there was like a giant cave up here, which I thought was pretty cool, considering that it was like all underground. So having kind of like that cave feel made it kind of seem kind of cool. And then in here, this was my super smelter. This was my own design of a super smelter. This was fully designed by me, and then Husky later on added a little bit to it. He added a little like a little boosting thing just in case we ran out of fuel. And I was pretty proud of this thing. It worked pretty well. There was a little bit of flaws with it, but I was too lazy. It didn't really bother me all that much, or anyone else, to really, you know, try to fix it. So, you know, it did its job. And you just put all the items you want to smelt up here and go into a little, you know, minecart chest that would, you know, go over here. Boom, boom, boom. Smelt all the items. And then this ran on bamboo. So I had a bamboo farm back here that was just constantly producing bamboo. With a little unloader right here that unload it into this fuel chest. And then the fuel minecart would come in and just continuously just, you know, lather all the hoppers with bamboo as fuel. And then once they're done, goes in the output chest, and yeah, and then I had these little redstone lamps as indicators, so when this was on, this is how you know it was, you know, the top part was running to spread all the items out. And then when this was on, that means the minecart was stopped and it was reloading on fuel, because if you were doing a ton of items at once, it would run out of fuel and would, you know, pick up as much to, you know, continue doing it. So you want to pause it once in a while and let it fill all back up with bamboo and then keep going. And then yeah, that was this. And then over here was just a basic lava farm that I made. I honestly never made a lava farm before. I think this is one of the newer things I think they added in that cave update with the dripstone to, you know, have infinite lava. And I honestly had no idea that how fast it was going to be. I heard it was pretty slow, so I just made a bunch of them. And surprisingly, they fill up pretty fast, so it definitely gave its bang for its buck. And it wasn't really that too hard to set up too. But yeah, I did a pretty good job decorating this room. This was all by me. You know, usually Lena is the one who's, you know, top tier for decorating and building and all that stuff. But I was pretty happy how this room, you know, pulled out. I had like the cauldrons hanging from the ceiling, and you know, the chains and all that stuff. So I thought it was pretty cool. And then, you know, had a little iron golem here named David, who was security for all the slimes that would randomly spawn in here. And then this was the melon factory right here. This was built by Dr. Squids. He was the melon CEO, and this was just a giant melon farm that he mostly designed. I helped with like the collection system a little bit, but this was all him. And so he had his little office up here too, and this is one of the melons that would sort through the storage room and go up top to be stored or converted to bone meal. And then this was like this little CEO office that he made. So, you know, it was pretty nice. Never put a roof on it, unfortunately, but it did its job. And then over here, this is Squid's bank. So a while back, he had a little, I don't know, like a little business thing he was doing where he was safely storing certain people's items. Just Sarah and Metal Pumpkin only did it, but yeah, you know, you pay Squids to store items in his vault, pretty much. But yeah, that was pretty much it. It was just a giant little bank that he made. Kind of cool, like vault that's kind of like suspended in the middle of like this room. So yeah. And then coming over here, this is the Hall of Heroes. So the Hall of Heroes was designed by me, and this was a way to kind of just like credit everybody in the base who has been here and who has done you know, certain stuff and certain accomplishments. So I did a pixel art of every base, or almost every base member's head, and then there was little books with you know, the banners of different groups they were a part of, and little books that commemorate, you know, their accomplishments in the base. So it was a nice little like monument to all the players, you know, from me to kind of appreciate, you know, the work and you know, the great friendships that, you know, I never thought I'd, you know, have over, you know, a fucking Minecraft server. But, you know, a lot of these people I've gotten to know, you know, pretty well, and I consider them, you know, good online friends to have, right? So, you know, this was like a little monument to them, and I kind of went all out on the kind of the Greek or Roman kind of themed like temple feel in here. And you know, I had a little like tropical fish in the ponds here, but they kept dying, so like only like 1 or 2 survived in each pool of like the 10 or 15 I put in each. But yeah, this turned out pretty well, and I'm pretty happy, you know, that everyone pretty liked it a lot. And these side rooms over here, this was just in our skeleton spawner. There's so many, how big this base is, and all that, you know, there's spawners everywhere, so it's just like, well, it's here, might as well just, you know, build in our, you know, spawner farm pretty much. So this was just one that was built by Husky, and I'm trying to find it. You know, there's a little collection system over here, so you know, that's his job. And then over here was our elevator I took down to the bulk storage, which we'll go and check out in a little bit. But yeah, I take you down, and this is the bulk storage right here, just a giant just row of chests. But if we continue over here, this was the build that Lena was mostly working on. I think kind of was going for like a Lord of the Rings type of feel. It obviously never really got finished, but you can just tell it's Lena's, just the amount of detail and how just amazing this thing whole looks. And yeah, oh, there she is. There's Lena working on her build. But yeah, so here I am walking through the build. This is just some giant like dark like pit that she was doing. I don't remember what she was gonna do in there. This is a little area I don't think we ever did anything with. Yeah, so then going down here, this is a little hallway that was built by Lena that connects, I think, to the bulk storage over here, which we'll go over now. That's the elevator, goes up to the Hall of Heroes, and then this is the bulk storage. So this is where all of our extra items went. And you can see there was a lot of chests, and this was not taken, you know, what you saw. We have all this room, put all the chests. All these chests were filled with just loot, building blocks, you know, emeralds, shulkers, you know, name it, it's here. We had vast wealth here, and when we evacuated the base, the final count I think it was like over 3,000 shulkers, just packed with goodies. So I don't know if you can do the math, but that's a lot of double chests of shulkers. I think it was like 40 double chests just of shulkers, I think, alone. Probably even more than that. So yeah, there was a lot of loot here. So that was a big worry that when the base was gonna get found, that people were gonna just like siphon loot from it. You know, if it was me who found a big base like this, I would just take what I need and just come back once in a while. But fortunately for us, that never happened. We were able to save all our stuff. So yeah, so then over here, this was like my forklift. It's just a mule with chests on it, and he was pretty useful with just moving massive amount of shulkers like around the base real easily. So he came in handy. And then over here was a really shitty slime farm that I built like really early on. And it did its job. It produced slime at a pretty slow rate, but considering that the entire base was underground, slime just spawned everywhere. So we never really had a shortage of slime balls because you just find them everywhere. So never really got around to building a proper slime farm. So yeah, it did its job. Pretty happy with it. Over here is a little desk area. I think Squids built this. And then over here is a little rail duper station built by Husky, a rail and carpet dupe. And then right here was another skeleton, spawner farm that was built by me. And the nice thing about this one is I made a switch for it so you can do auto or semi. So if you want like the looting or the XP, hit semi. You just want the bones and the arrows, just hit auto and do it automatically. So yeah, and then here's another subway entrance and all that. And then this area down here, this was called the Grand Expanse. This is where like our beacons, and this is kind of just like another area where people would just hang out, because it was just like a giant like park, I guess you can call it. And well, there's Dr. Squids again. Excuse me. And this is just kind of like it would just diverge into more and more areas. So over here we had the servants of Genack. Genack, if you don't know, is the server admin, and we kind of just had like a running gag in the base where we kind of built like shrines to him since he's like the server admin and all that. So we had like that kind of running gag, I think, was started by Squids, and so we kind of ran with it, and it was just kind of fun just to role play that, I guess, But yeah, here's just some basic farmer villagers that we would hit up a lot of times from like the melon farm and all that upstairs. Just quick XP, quick emeralds. All you gotta repair your mending on your gear and some shit. Just grab some melons, hop down here, trade up all the villagers, and you're good. So that's kind of like what their purpose was down here. Over here, this is the North Wing, which we'll go through later. And then over here is Greed's old little house. He eventually moved out because before this was when he first joined. Greed was the third member to join after me and Squids. The first outside member too. So he built his little thing over here when we were first kind of expanding out towards this way, and then eventually this all filled up and it got too laggy. So he moved out and built an R house somewhere else in the base, which we'll show later. But this was this nice little room, and the funny thing with Greed is, I swear to God, at least once a week he'd change up his room. This room, I think, changed at least 20 times. At least, because I remember I just log on and, Greed's up, and what's he doing? He's just changing his room up again, just gutting it and redoing it. So, it was pretty funny. But yeah, that was Greed's room. Over here was the member board. This was everyone who has ever come to the base. So we have Dr. Squids, me, Metal Pumpkin, Greed, Lena, and Husky are the more prominent members that people might recognize. And then we had some other people too that joined that were either close friends of some of the other members, IRL and all that stuff. So they don't really play that much, so if you recognize them, props to y'all. But yeah, and then this was the signboard thing was created by me because I used to play on 2B2T back in the day, and every base always had a signboard with member or like a member board. So I was like, oh, we need to have that too, because I really like that about like 2B2T of everyone just kind of came together, made a big build, and when it got griefed, everyone kind of just scattered and did it again. So yeah. And then Lena came through, did her thing with all the nice decorating. Over here's a little frog. Funny backstory of this frog. When we first got frogs to the base, I bred a bunch of them in this pool right here. And there was like maybe like 3 or 4 frogs or 5 or something like that. And they slowly just kind of scattered, and then they all disappeared. I don't know what happened to them. And then one day, like many months later, I was just kind of, looking around the base. I think I was like looking for a spot to build, and I found one of them. One of them lived after all this time, and they could have gone anywhere because there's an extensive water cave system all around the base. Along with our subway, there was water caves that would connect every single part of the base. So if you just wanted to swim somewhere, you could do it. And I've accidentally released axolotls, fish, and frogs all into the ponds, and they kind of scattered, and I never see them again. But this dude kind of just showed up one day, and he was alive somehow. So I was like, holy shit, got a lead. I brought him back here, and I tied him up because I didn't want him to run away and get lost again. So he was kind of just chilling here, so I thought that was, you know, that was pretty cool that after all this time he was still in the base, just chilling. The base was just too damn big that we couldn't fucking find him. Over here is like a little park area that brought a bunch of pandas in. This was Greed's little pet panda right here. His name was Retard, and all you do, or maybe it was this one. I don't know. It might have been this one. One of the two. But all they do is just spin all day and eat bamboo. So Greed called him Retard, and that was his little pet panda. He used to hang out here, but then he kind of got stuck over here. Carrying over here, here's a nice little like dam and like a little lake area that Dr. Squid's built. I tried to put some fish in here and axolotls, and they kind of swam up here and escaped into the labyrinth of water caves, which connects to an ocean up top, and yeah, they're long gone, so oh well. Over here is like a little graveyard for some of our pets that, you know, passed away, unfortunately, over time. Here's the beacon area. I'm gonna show the screenshot now, but we took a group photo here a while back. We never did an updated one, unfortunately, with some of the newer members, but that was a fun day. And I would always, when I was bored, if I was not in the storage room or my library, I was down here, and I was just bunny hopping all over the amethyst, because when you walk in amethyst, it makes like a little noise. So I just sit here and, you know, fly the beacon, and, you know, talk and chat, you know, just have a good time. So yeah, that was this was one of my little areas that I just, you know, kind of hung out at. I like that nice little common area. Let's see where my character goes, because I don't remember. I recorded this a couple days ago. Okay, so we're coming over here. So we'll pause right here. Here's another little subway train station over here. Over here we have some basic auto farms that were built by Dr. Squid. So we had auto kelp, auto bamboo, or a second auto bamboo storage area. Here is the NASDAQ, and yeah, from all the way up here to all the way down here. And these bottom floors are a little bit bigger, a lot more villagers in them. But yeah, that kind of just showed up here, so made a nice little entrance over here with that. Over here was a nice little park area that Lena built. Had all these little like water cave areas, so I kind of just, you know, I was like, this looks ugly, gotta make it look nice. So I made this little park up here, like the NASDAQ park, you know, thinking like, oh hey, you know, trading at the NASDAQ, come eat lunch over here at the park, right? Water cave, little river stream, comes down to this nice little waterfall area that comes over here. Nice little park that goes into the temple complex. And then over here was a nice little amethyst, and then I think over here was Golden Lincoln's room. So there was that. Over here is a nice little elevator that I made that goes up to the east wing, I think, which we'll show a little bit later. And then over here was another elevator that goes up to this spot, which I'll talk about now. But this elevator was pretty cool. This was a custom designed elevator by me. I spent way more time. I was going to build more of them around the base, but I spent so much time trying to get this one to work. I just built one and left it as is. But how it works is, you know, you press the button, and down here, that soul sand block will switch out for magma, depending if you want to go up or down. So you just press the button on either one, and you know, you can go up and down the water stream. So, you know, it was pretty nice. Up here was the common area, like another like kind of like common area, I guess you can call it, right? And this was kind of like the front entrance to the base. So back then, where all these vines were, this was all open. Like all this was just open to the outside world, and I did a pretty good job of terraforming it. And you know, I never even mentioned that I terraformed it to be closed. You probably would just think it's just, you know, this is how the cave was, but in reality, you know, come up here, boop, here it is. here's the outside. Here's that giant ocean I was talking about. And yeah, so pretty good terraform by my part. You know, if I never even explained it, never would have known. But over here is kind of like the quote-unquote main entrance of the base. Whenever we're trying to bring animals or some shit, right? Ferry through here, come over here, and this was kind of like the main entrance. This is kind of where everyone would kind of fly in and out if someone wanted to go somewhere outside. There was other like little secret exits and stuff like that around the base, but this is the main one everyone used. The kind of the goal of the base was not have any outside presence, so it was just totally hidden underground. So if someone randomly flew by, they wouldn't really think much of it, even though, you know, kind of poorly chose to build in a giant fucking jungle where you can't really control the vines. So if you're smart, you see all the vines, say, oh, someone's been here. But no one found it that way, so who knows if someone ever flew by up there. Never know, because they never found it. But yeah, then, you know, this is just a nice decorated area. This is just a hallway that kind of just curved through here to the other side. Nothing special in there. And yeah, this kind of came up over here to the OG room. And this is where our first auto melon and pumpkin farms were built by Dr. Squids. And then we had a lot of animals over here, but we kind of phased them out eventually. And built separate areas and farms for them. So this is, you know, over here was like a dog army that I was gonna do something fun with, and over here was a bunch of rabbits. There used to be like chicken and cows and pigs, but they got moved into their own little areas eventually. And this comes back to the storage room and all that. And then yeah, so then over here was just like some tower that Squids built. I forgot what his inspiration was for it, but you know, it was cool. Kind of made the use of this pillar that was here. And continue the recording, see where I go. Oh, there's Dr. Squids, he's following me. We'll pause it right there. Right here is the this is the Temple of Genack. This was a build by mostly Dr. Squids, and then me and Lena kind of added our little touches here and there to it, but this was Dr. Squids' build. And funny story of this Cryo Obsidian, before we had a bartering farm, we kind of built this kind of early on in our, you know, our playthrough, right? And we were farming this Cryo Obsidian either by buying it from our players, or farming it from room portals, or just manually bartering. And that was... It took a long time because everyone thought we were going to make respawn anchors and, you know, go blow shit up, and like, no, we're just trying to build with it. We're not really PvPers in that sense, you know. We just wanted to build, so it took a while to get, you know, all this kind of obsidian, but now we have loads of it. Now it's like kind of redundant, but it was kind of funny just to struggle and try to fill all this in. But yeah, this is the Temple of Genack. We walk in here, this is a nice little Greek Roman style kind of like temples ground area, and this park, that little like kind of like park area that Squids did, I really liked it. It was probably one of my favorite builds in the entire base that he made. It just felt really kind of like I don't know, like homey, I guess. It wasn't too big, wasn't too small. It just kind of fit the Minecraft theme. So he did a pretty good job with this. In here, I did the armor stands and like the throne room, I think. And so you come over here, and then we had a bunch of Genack artifacts here. So this was the crown of Genack. This is a golden helmet that I made for him, and then a trim update. I put a diamond trim on it. Here, I can't like see in the replay, but those were original signed books by Genack on his 2x the charm account that he did for us when we were giving a tour of the base one day. And so that was super nice to him, so shout out Genack for you know, being cool and doing that for us. Over here was one of Genack's boats that he had. I stole that from Ceramic Elf's base. She had that at one of her bases, so I stole it and brought it here. And there was a couple other artifacts, I think. We built another one over here. When Genack was going to come back again, we were going to ask him. There was like a flint and steel here, and that I made, and we were going to have him like light the brazier or whatever, right? you know, just a little fun. We were trying to include Genack in, but you know, Genack doesn't really play that much, so he never really got around to you know, stopping by again to do it, unfortunately. But you know, I put these rainbow sheep here because I thought, you know, temple grounds gotta be all cool. I hit a bunch of birds in the trees too. You know, news to me when I was, you know, trying to do this, you can't even breed parrots in this game. Like, what the fuck, really? Come on, Mojang, you gotta fix your fucking shit. I don't want no fucking chat report. I don't want villager nerfs. Make me able to breed fucking parrots, you know? Just make a parrot egg or some bullshit. I don't know. Come on, that's easy. But anyway, this is some other smaller temples that Squids and Lena made, and then I did the armor stands for them. This was like a giant like rainbow beacon that we were gonna turn on for Genack, and this was like another little small temple. And yeah, and then this was a nice little fountain on the wall right here, and then over here was the catacombs of Genack, and down here, this was built by I think Dr. Squids built this, and he did a pretty good job in this. This was pretty cool. And then in here we had a little rare mob in here. This was a skeleton from the 2022 Halloween event. So if you don't know, every Halloween on Minecraft, any server, any single player world, majority of the mobs will spawn with pumpkins or jack-o'-lanterns on their heads just for Halloween on that single day. And we didn't, surprisingly enough, we didn't collect this on Halloween. We found this many months later on. We were just exploring nearby, and you know, someone must have flew by a chunk on Halloween, and we never went back there since, and that skeleton was there. So we transported that skeleton all the way back to base, and then we put him down in the catacombs as kind of a fitting thing. And yeah, I think he had a flame bow too, and he was pretty cool. So he was like our nice little like trophy mob, I guess. You know, now, you know, it was just a cool thing to have, right? But coming back up here, we had a little like Genack head that we put here too, kind of like to fit the kind of the whole aesthetic of the base. And then over here was in our hallway that goes to the don't want to lose my character. That goes to the wing. Fuck, what wing? This is the west wing. There's too many places in this this build. And I'll go over real quick too. Over here, this was an area we were going to expand to eventually, but we never got to it. But coming over here, this was the west wing. We had a bunch of the smaller farms that, you know, that were able to be made. I put them over here. This was, majority of these were built by me. So these were auto wheat. These were going to be the new sniffer plants, because I saw that villagers could harvest them, but then, you know, multiple problems arise that, you know, for like the pitcher pods, they can plant the pitcher pods, but they can't harvest them and replant them, which was like stupid. And then for the torch flowers, you know, they can plant them and harvest them, but the torch flowers don't drop extra seeds. So it's just like, you know, like why, you know, like, again, Mojang, the fuck. Really? That's fucking lame. Like, don't blue ball me by making villagers like harvest them or whatever if they can't fucking replant them or harvest them or some bullshit. You know, it's just like don't blue ball me like that, Mojang. Come on. This comes down over here to the east wing. I think this will. Oh no, this was sorry. This is the south wing. This is the east wing. The west wing's over there. Yeah. Too many spaces in this build, but yeah. Sorry, correction. This is the south wing. Yeah, this would go down to the east wing, and the east wing was just kind of like a really small section. We like had an auto fish area, we had some rail dupers, and that was pretty much it. Like, this was a pretty small area. But down here, this would go to Squid's little shooting mini game. It was this was all built by Dr. Squids, and you stay in the shooting range, shoot your bow at the targets, and depending on what target you hit, the thing will light up and tell you how many blocks you hit that target from. So it was a good mini game, and it was good practice too for bow. Like, I would just sit here some days and just fire at the targets and just like, okay, well, if, you know, let's say I was trying to snipe someone or a mob that was 40 blocks away, that's like kind of like the angle I want to hit them at, you know. So this was really good practice. I highly recommend building something like this in your own bases, because it's just good practice for bow. If you want to get good at bow, get a little nutty at it. But going back up here, this is the south wing. Right here is the pink petal farm. Here's an auto wheat farm, because if you had the villagers harvest wheat, sometimes they'll do wheat, but they'll mostly do bread. So this was just strictly wheat, and so it produced a lot of wheat. Over here was semi-AFK auto stone or cobble farms. Over here was a concrete converter. Here's our subway tunnel. Here's our exit from the base through the water caves. Over here is the Ender Pearl stasis chamber. Here is our little frog chamber bit. I don't know. I was playing the movies like a long time ago and I never got to it. There's a little fountain. Here is the creeper farm. This is one of the creeper farms. This is the first one that was built by me. And it just used snow golems in the middle to shoot the creepers that fall in the campfire. And yeah, and then a funny story of this farm is that originally I built it, it was super slow. And I had no idea why. I figured out maybe because I built it on the ground and all that stuff, and because I think in the tutorial it said you had to build it in the ocean because you want the best mobs, spawns. And I was like, okay, well, I mean, it's giving us gunpowder. It's not giving us as much as I would hope for, but it's giving us enough to kind of get by. So we'll leave it for now. And then one day, magically, Genack changed some setting in the server, and this thing just started spawning creepers like crazy. It wasn't from lighting caves or nothing like that, or it just one day it just kicked into overdrive, and it was producing a shitload of gunpowder ever since. So whatever Genack did, thanks. Then over here, more auto farms with villagers containing potatoes, carrots, wheat, and bread. Over here was just a nice little manual neverwort farm. Over here was cocoa pod farm, vine farms, and then this was going to be the far south side, but we never really did anything over here other than like a really basic bone meal farm. This is like the first one that we built before we built all the other bone meal farms. And then yeah, there was going to be more here, but it was under the ocean. These are all water caves, so it was just the build there was going to be a struggle, and no one really went up for the challenge for it. And then over here was automatic flower farms with the 2 tall flowers. So if you don't know, you can bone meal a 2 tall flower plant, and it'll dupe it for you pretty much. And so this was a farm designed by me, and all you had to do was insert your bone meal fuel in the top right here, and then flick the lever, and it would just sit there and just keep making more. So if you needed the dyes or you wanted the plants for decoration, flip that lever, it will work and do its thing and collect down here. So I can do the redstone. This was pretty tricky redstone. It's pretty sloppy. It's not my best work, but it works. So there's that. Then yeah, that connects back over here, which I already showed. This is just some extra storage for some of the crops and flowers and so on. And then right here was it's not going to show because I'm too far away, but if I come back over here, I'll mention it. This is a little monument I made for the end reset fight that I did. I was really trying to go for the egg, but Joel stole it from me at the end, and I wasn't able to negotiate it from him, unfortunately, so wasn't able to get it. So I made a little monument here that I with my armor and my weapons, because I made custom weapons for the end reset, because I figured that it was going to be, there was a good chance I was going to die, and I didn't want to lose my my original armor, so I made that armor, but I never died, and so I hung it up here, and it was a nice little monument. And then later it became my little security system too. So if anyone ever found the base, I figured they would take the netherite armor, because I feel like that'd be the basic response anyone would take. So every time I log on, I come over here and check it to make sure it was still here, and if it wasn't here, then there would be a big problem. It's like, okay, someone's been here, time to go. But yeah, so let's come back over here. let's follow my character so we do not get lost. I think now we're gonna go in here. I'm gonna pause it right here for now. This is the this is my NASCAR arena, and this was a horse racing arena. I just called it NASCAR because I grew up watching NASCAR all the time. If you don't know what NASCAR is, it's racing. It's very prominent in the U.S. And you know, I grew up around it. I watched it all the time as a kid, and I always really enjoyed watching it. You know, it was a good childhood memory for me. So I kind of just built a NASCAR theme. I had the NASCAR logo in the back right here, and you know, since there's no cars in the game, I said, "Fuck it, we'll do horses." It makes sense. So I kind of built this. The outside kind of fits like this, you know, grand, you know, Roman Greek style kind of like, you know, speedway, or I forgot what it's called. What they called it back then. But yeah, and then I built a giant horse statue up here. This was not my own build. I'm not good at building statues like that. I just found it online, and I built it block for block. So if you can build statues like this and be really good at it, then huge props to you, because I can't wrap my head around it. But I always wanted to build something on top of here, like a giant statue like that, and I found this online. I was like, oh, this is perfect. So there's that. So in here, this is the NASCAR arena. This was mostly built by me. I had help from Dr. Squids and Greed a little bit for digging, but I did black concrete powder for the track because it looks really similar to asphalt. So, and then the yellow frogs for like the little lane dash thingy, whatever you want to call it. And in the middle here, this was just like public horses. So this was like another like mini game sense. So everyone in the base had their own stable. So this was Squids, this was Greed's. Read his little sign there. And then this was mine over here. And so what we would do is we would, you know, competitively try to breed horses, try to get the fastest horse or the, you know, highest jump horse, and then we would race each other on the track. So, you know, I added these little fences here, so it's like, oh, well, if your horse can jump over the too tall fence block right here, you know, you might get a little advantage on the turn or whatever, right? So, you know, it was fun. We did it a couple times. Everyone really enjoyed it. Over here was like testing thing to test see how tall your horse can jump. And yeah, so it was a lot of fun. And then over here, this was Weena's. This was I think this was Pumpkin and Cosme's. Yeah, so it was a lot of fun. I had a good time building this, and a good time you know, racing horses too. And then coming over here, this was my biggest project yet, and unfortunately I was never able to finish it, and it's not going to load all the way. We'll have to come back in a minute. But this was the Grand Arena, but it's not loaded. So let us come back over here, follow our character. What way we go. We're gonna go this way first, and over here, this was like I don't even know what this was called. This was mostly built by Squids and Weena, and one day Squids and Weena were bored, and the base was huge, and they said, fuck it, let's build a base inside the base. So there was an art storage room here, there was all these other just farms, there was more, you know, more villager trading halls, and they did such a good job on this build. It was very beautiful. Unfortunately, this was one of the last like larger projects that was done before the base got leaked, so it never really fully finished. But a lot of these rooms were done. It just, the whole project itself wasn't complete. But in here's, you know, another trading hall. Here's a dual cave spider spawner, and then there was like a normal spider spawner, and then there was like a zombie spawner somewhere else too. It was just, there was a lot of spawners over here, so it's just, this by itself, if you didn't include everything else, this was like pretty cool as like a, your own base by itself. And the whole goal of this was, you know, if we had any new people join, they can, or join the base or join the server, they can come here and they can just focus on getting their stuff, you know, getting their gear up and their, you know, their wealth up, and they could just, you know, hang out this part of the base and just get their shit together. Over here was Lena's library. This makes my library look like a piece of shit, and she did such a good job on it. So huge props to her and Squids for building this and using the new chiseled bookshelves and all the little tables. And yeah, and then continue on this way. Here's another little storage room. Bamboo, another auto smelter that was in the works. Shulker area, cactus farm. Here's another spawner. This was zombie. Subway. More villager trading. Yeah. Yeah, this is pretty fucking epic. Now the whole arena loaded, and I'll go do the arena. So this was the Grand Arena. This was a massive project that I was working on. I did have help from Squids and Lena for digging, because I absolutely fucking hate digging. So huge thank you for them for helping me dig this out. And the whole kind of inspiration of this was like the Roman Coliseum, and you know, if you've seen my older videos, I've built multiple arenas around spawn and hosted events with, you know, PvP with various of the other players on the server, and I figured, you know, I couldn't really go all out there because I knew it was going to get griefed pretty fast or damaged or whatever, and so I said, well, fuck it, I'm gonna build one at my own base because I can go big, right? Go big or go home, and I really don't have to worry about it, you know, getting griefed too fast, you know. But spoke too soon because it didn't fucking last too long, and I wasn't able to finish it, unfortunately. But we did get one good fight out of it. We got the final fight of the base between Metal Pumpkin and Sarah happened here, and so it did get its use. But the whole plan was to, you know, build a giant arena. There's gonna be like towers in the corners, and there's gonna be like trapdoors in the floor, so we can like not just, you know, PvP, but we can do PvE. Like, you know, imagine we throw Metal Pumpkin in the middle with leather armor, and he's got to go against a bunch of baby zombies with diamond swords, and, you know, it would have been cool to kind of connect some of those spawners from the you know, the little base inside a base, and, you know, have mobs come over here to, you know, fight the mobs for like some kind of like, you know, Roman Coliseum games, like how the Romans would have their gladiators fight against like tigers and shit. So yeah, you know, it was gonna be pretty cool, but unfortunately it never came to be. It was never gonna finish. And then Lena did this for my birthday. My birthday happened a couple days before the base got leaked, so that was a nice little birthday gift for me. And yeah, so this was going to be probably the biggest and best build I ever did. But fortunately, though, I saved the Lightmatic for some of the sections of it, so I'm going to rebuild it, and I'm going to rebuild it even bigger and better. So I'm looking forward to that. But if we come back down here, I lost where my character was. That is not good. Where did my character go? Oh, here he is. Okay. Continuing. Going this way. Pause it right here. So over here, this was a nice little forest path that goes to a different section of the base, and then over here was one of the villages that we made. This was built by Dr. Squids, and he just wanted to have a giant village just for, you know, shits and giggles. So he just built a giant village down here, a little custom-made village, fully sufficient, and his whole goal was to have 1,000 villagers in the base. I think we got close, but I don't know if he had, you know, good counting estimates or whatever, but yeah, all this was pretty much just decoration. Wasn't really anything too crazy. So this is the forest path coming down here. this leads over here to the museum. And I talked about the museum multiple times, I think either A, in other videos, or B, with a lot of other players too. And this is where I would store a lot, not all, but a lot of player artifacts, or, you know, armors and stuff like that. Over here we had like our little banner like room, I guess, where we would you know, collect banners or make banners and stuff like that. And then let's see if I'm not gonna walk in here. Okay, so this is the player artifact museum. So we have all the different exhibits. Here's the It's Havoc exhibit. Havoc gave me his armor when he quit the first time, and so I made a little exhibit to commemorate him, you know, as a player. It was pretty notable for a good time on the server. Over here were armor that I collected from a really old base, and you could see the players who armor they were. So we had Kumi, we had Misty, we had Simon, we had Floppy, we had Hawk, someone named Evil Pro, and Bev Black. Who these two players I don't know, but all the other players I'm kind of familiar with. Over here were all custom items that we kind of found in our travels. Nothing too noticeable, just, you know, I think this one was like cocaine or something funny like that, right? So, you know, funny little things that we found. Over here, this is our Coalition exhibit. I don't know if I'm supposed to leak those cords, but the base has been long gone, so I think it's okay. This is just the Coalition deserves its own video going into it, because it's one of the biggest groups in TTAC history, and I'm definitely going to be making my own series going over the history of that group, because it is pretty noticeable, and then that group did shape up a lot of events and players' histories and all that, so that deserves its own video. Over here, this was Super Robot's base. One day I just, you know, I stumbled upon it. He built it right on the Hermit TP, the old Hermit TP, before Genack changed it. One day I hit Hermit TP and it spawned me right in his base, and I was like, oh, okay. So he had a whole map thing of his base and some banners, so I took the maps, I took the banners. So I made a little exhibit for him. Oh, it's not gonna load, that sucks. I wonder if I can... Let's see. Is it gonna load in? Perfect. So right here, this was the ceramic elf exhibit, and this was the biggest one for very obvious reasons, because she was pretty easy to kill, and she's arguably the most hated person on the server, so it's pretty easy to get a lot of her shit. So all these were items collected from Ceramic Elf. All these armor sets, all these tools, all these different items. And yeah, and then over here we had Kingsley. One day Kingsley, you know, abandoned his base and leaked his cords, because I think he was quitting, or just he wanted a full restart. So I headed over there and I saved all his items and I added to the museum. So here's Kingsley, and then here's Skywars Client. Skywars Client is another player that is not really that popular. And one day, me and Melk were at spawn, and Skywars Client was on his little rant as per usual. And Melk and me pushed him into the fire at spawn and killed him, and we split his loot up. And then he went on a 4-hour rage in chat and just wouldn't shut up. So I put his armor here because I thought it was funny. Here's a little blue axolotl that was gifted by Lena before she joined the base. And then here is the Imperium. This was an art group base that was led by Xavier Sunsun and a bunch of other notable players. But the base fell, and I showed up there one day and I found the maps and was able to acquire the maps from our players along with the banners. So this had its own little exhibit too. And yeah, that's pretty much it. And then there was another Sarah exhibit over here because we just had too much fucking Sarah shit. But yeah, that was the museum. I know a couple people are asking about that when I was doing private tours, but that is what I had. I didn't have everything out there because some stuff I considered a little too valuable to kind of leave out like that. Also, here was Sanctuary too. This was Floppy's big base. So this is the maps that we were able to save. I don't think we were able to get all of them because we're missing the corners, but and it looks like it wasn't even completed either. But this is what we got from Sanctuary. And then this castle here, this was built by me and Dr. Squids. This wasn't going to be the museum. One day we were just bored and we were like, fuck it, we're gonna build a castle. And so we built this castle. These little lion statues were made by me. A fountain, all that, and Squids did a lot of the architecture. Over here, this is the Hanging Gardens. So this was just a giant cave that we found, and that's when we decided to build a castle and all this stuff. And I think the Hanging Gardens was built by Squids and Lena, and it was just a nice little area, little nature area, a naturally floating aquifer in the cave, and all the lava and all that fun stuff. Had some naturally spawning horses and stuff here too, so it was pretty nice. Uh-oh. Here I am. Alright, so let's see where I go. Alright, so over here, this is Mount Poland. This was built by Cosme and Metal Pumpkin. And this is in Polish here, so if I read Polish, a little thing for you right there. But yeah, this is Poland Mountain. This was built by Cosme and Metal Pumpkin. I don't think it ever got finished. I kind of changed a couple times, but I don't know, I think there's like a little Among Us little statue back here, and a little birthday little thing Lena made for Cosme when his birthday rolled around. And yeah, so this was Mount Poland. Continuing the tour. Going down here, this was the second village. This was built by Lena and Dr. Squids. And I think this was just in our, hey, let's build a village because we're bored, and you know, once we had all the farms down, it was just build. So this is just in our little village that they made with more of Lena's touch to it, as you can tell. Over here is a little guillotine that I helped Lena make, and coming over here, this was like the slums. I think Dr. Squids and Lena made this too. And in here, this was the Master Thug. So we kind of had a little like running gag in the base that the slimes were just thugs, and so add a little lore to the base that this is the Master Thug right here. He's the one who's spawning all the slimes in our base and causing, you know, a very big a nuisance to us. So little, I guess, you know, fun lore right there. And then I think there was like a baby thug right there that we had, and yeah, this was supposed to be like some, I think it's supposed to, this was inspired from like Venezuela or Brazil, like one of those like kind of like slum neighborhoods you see, like pictures. So yeah, so then coming back over here, this is a giant bridge, was built by Dr. Squids. Did a really good job on this. I really do like this. And going this way, this is the prison. So this was another work in progress build that was never really able to be totally finished by mostly Dr. Squids. And in here we had another warden that we captured. We had 2 wardens that we had captured in the base, and they were mostly there for you know, as a base defense mechanism. So if shit hit the fan, you know, break the warden out and let him do his thing, and that would oh, I just hit a button on accident. Don't know what I did. Oh, well, by the way, I'll explain it. Yeah, so whenever the base fell, we released the wardens, and they kind of, you know, kept people from, you know, kind of messing with it for a time being. A little distraction until, uh-oh, there we go. I don't know what that did. But, Oops, I don't know what I did. Oh well. I don't use reclaim mod. Continuing. Oh, here I am. Okay, I think I fixed it. So yeah, this was a prison, and then nothing really, you know, too I don't know, crazy you could say about it. It was just a prison build. Didn't really have any purpose to it. Just a fun little build. And then here's our warden that we had trapped up here. So that was fun, trying to, you know, get him in. Let's see what I did. So we're gonna head back to the main section. This is it for this kind of, you know, section of the base. We're gonna head back, and then we still got a couple more areas to explore. It's not over yet. Oh, here's me going through the museum so you can get our look at it. Alright. Heading back down the forest path. Let's see where I go next, because I don't remember. Well, I guess I went down here again, I don't know. I don't know what I was thinking. But yeah, we already talked about this place. I probably realized that. I was like, "Ooh, gotta turn around." Or not. Yeah, more trade. Well, yeah, I guess we'll use this time. If you like the video, please like and comment and, you know, subscribe and all that fun stuff. I really appreciate it. You know, I don't really take YouTube seriously. I'm just I do it for, you know, more of a memory's sake. Keep the memories. So, you know, if you like the content and you want to, you know, see more of it, please do like and subscribe and comment. Very much appreciated. But, take a pause right here. So this is the, I don't think I explained this part, this is the giant tree farm. This was built by Dr. Squids in an afternoon. I just remember one day, log out, I think I went to go play basketball or go lunch or something like that. I come back and this entire tree farm was done, and I was like, what the fuck? So Dr. Squids is a fucking wizard at digging and building, just in a grand scale like that. He just sets his mind to it and it just gets it done. So big credit for Dr. Squids right there. Let's see where I go now. Hopefully, oh, I'm going back up here. Right here, this is our rapid refill station. This was built by me. Originally, this was a giant iron farm, but you know, we made Hasky made a bigger iron farm. And this one became redundant, so it kind of got, you know, turned into back rooms, and we had a nice little rare zombie down there holding a chest plate, which you can't get anymore, and yeah, so this turned into the rapid refill station. So whenever, you know, the most common stuff that we all take is rockets, food, pearls, and totems. So I just figured, hey, have it all in one spot, so you can come here, boom, 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 resupply real quick, and then, you know, you can go back out and do your thing. Or whatever. How close? Okay, so we still got a little bit more to go. This is the sign wall over here. This is where we just took quotes that we heard from different players in the server, and we kind of put them on this wall. All the ones we found funny, we we put it here. So so yeah, you can pause the video if you want to read them all. Some of them are obviously probably not, you know, you know, that appropriate. So, you know, viewer discretion, right? Let's see where I go next. Let's see. Skip ahead. I know there's one more area I need to explore. I'm hoping I did in this replay, otherwise I'm gonna have to check something else. Oh, here we go. We're going. Alright. So after we go through this entire hallway over here, we come out over here, and this is, well, right here, this is the tree farm. This is my automatic tree farm that I made. It's fully automatic. The only thing I had to put in here is bone meal to make it work as fuel, and you don't have to put saplings or stuff like that, and it just infinitely farms wood. It's got TNT duper and the ceiling, so like this part right here I copied from the video, and then all this other stuff was by me, just to harvest it. And so TNT duper, you know, does TNT, blows up the logs, cooks into this chest down here. Pretty self-explanatory. Over here, or up here, this is the second warden that we had. This was the first one that we did, but yeah, this is the second one in the video that I'm showing you. So we built this giant kind of like, you know, wool chamber to kind of muffle out the sound, since wool kind of, you know, blocks the sound for the warden, and we measured it all out. So when you're standing over here in the green, you're good. If you're in the red, then he can smell you, and he can probably hit you too. So he was here as kind of, you know, a base defense mechanism itself. You know, the base got discovered, the people are in the base, release the warden, let them, you know, deal with the warden, and that buys us time to, you know, get our shit out and all that. And it did work. And coming down here, this goes to a hallway that I'll show later, and then down here was the this is the warden release program. This was made by Dr. Squids, and what would happen is that the warden would get released, he dropped down, the note blocks would play, he'd get tracked in note blocks, and he'd get hit with all these like potions, so that he'd become a super warden. So imagine how scary a warden is, you know, by itself. Imagine a warden with speed 2, strength, fire resistance, all the other good potion effects that you can think of. You got hit by him, and then he come over here to the mob zoo, and we had mushrooms, we had there were some goats here, cats, there was a polar bear named Tippert, and so forth. And then I forgot to explain this, I'll do that real quick. Damn, what's this called? Chorus Fruit Farm. This was the bee apiary where we breed bees, and then this was an automatic honey farm, and then this was the first arena that was built by Greed. I guess this is his signature arena, because I think he built this at our base previously. So we had a little fun in here. We use this time and time again. Coming back over here though, where did I leave off at? Alright, so over here, this was a dual cave spider spawner, another one that we found. I built the dual cave spider spawner system, and all you have to do is stand here. I got on and off switches, and you just stand here and whack them with your sword, and it gives you a lot of string, a lot of spider eyes, and some good XP. So I did its job, and then Husky later on added a really cool collection system to it, to where you know, you had these light indicators, so when it was working, the light would, you know, start blinking, and if it was full, the light would be on, and you had all the chests for all the loot drops from it. And then this area we called the Husky Command Center. This was kind of Husky's area. This is where Husky built his farms. This is where he AFK'd most of the time, and this is just kind of like what this is what Husky just kind of did. Is he just made farms, and he's fucking amazing at it. So huge props to Husky. This is just a furnace XP farm, so this thing just constantly runs, and you know, whenever you're running by or you need XP, you just pull it's running on a cactus farm and a carpet duper. So all you gotta do is pull the green dye out of the furnace, and it give you a fuck ton of XP and heal all your shit up instantly. So that was pretty cool. And then this was like some birthday celebrations we did for Husky. Here's the command center. So here's a portal with a retractable floor that he did, which I don't even know how he did that, so huge props to him for being able to pull that off. Like, holy shit. And then this is the Iron Farm 2.0. This was made by Husky. This is his great wonder of the base. I helped Husky do a bunch of research on iron farms. We like went really technical on it, and we just looked up on, you know, how to get the best rates, and we really looked into like the game code to figure it out. And this is kind of what we came up with for a non-portal based farm, because portal based farms are a little bit more of a hassle to make on the server, because apparently there's, I don't know if it's a bug or a setting or something like that, but you have to have the other side of the portal, you know, loaded with another player to have the mobs, you know, go through and go through on the other side, because if you don't, they'll just disappear forever. And we didn't want to do that because none of us really have alts, and it was just, we wanted to have it, you know, all equal in one spot. So we did this, and this goes all the way down. This goes pretty much, I think, to the top of the world, pretty much, or the top of the underground part, all the way down to bedrock. And it's produced too much iron. I don't know the rates, but it produced more than enough. Like, we have probably a double chest of shulkers of iron blocks, at least. I know, at least. Probably even more. So, yeah, it did its job, and we would just trade the iron with villagers to, you know, quick XP our emeralds and all that other fun stuff. And then we also had, Husky had a bunch of other farms hooked up to his command center as well, like bone meal, snow, iron, gunpowder, which is right here. This is our second gunpowder farm. Husky just copied the other one I made and just added a ton of layers to it. And, yeah. So it produced like fuck ton of gunpowder. I think when we were moving the base, I think we had like 3 double chest shulkers of gunpowder. So it was just a phenomenal amount of gunpowder, more than you would ever need. We would also get glowing sacks, pumpkins, which was built by Dr. Squids later on. Giant pumpkin factory here. Never got decorated because it was built later on. And then we also had our sugarcane farm and our spot for paper to craft it into. So yeah. And then right here, this is Wolfbane. Wolfbane was one of Husky's little minions and friends that he would send out to build farms around the server for him. So Husky hung his head here as a little remembrance. I think he quit. He doesn't play anymore. So huge shout out to Wolfbane for, you know, helping our team and Husky build a lot of the farms, because that was super nice of him. But yeah, continuing down this way. Over here is, you know, this is the entrance of the tree farm right here, and then over here is a bunch of other little farms that I've made. This was an fully automatic bone meal farm. It worked pretty well. It was fully automatic. It would resupply itself, so what it would do is just push out stone here to replace the moss, and then, you know, after a certain point, use a bone meal, make a bunch of moss and all the fun stuff, get filtered in, turn into bone meal, get put back into the system to make more, and then all the extra get put in these chests here. And this farm did work pretty well, but it always ran into problems with if you left a chunk came back, it would spawn cobblestone for some reason. I don't know how or why. I think it was because of a lazy chunk. And then you would have to, like, you know, kickstart the machine again, like, you know, starting like a lawnmower or some bullshit. Remove the cobblestone, manually do one bone meal, and it'll jump start the machine again. And then over here was my super auto cobblestone and smoothstone farm. And so I copied this part from a tutorial, obviously. I've seen other people on the server build it before. It did break towards the end. I don't know what the hell happened to it. It just wouldn't work anymore. I don't know why. Everything was in place, so who knows, right? But it did its job. And what this would do, it would literally make a stack of cobblestone per second. So more stone and cobblestone and smoothstone that you can ever fucking dream of. So, you know, you turn it on, jumpstart the machine, stack of cobblestone a second, there was cobblestone storage right here, and then I had smelters that would turn the cobblestone into stone and then smooth stone. So, you know, if I left the thing running, just infinite smooth stone, infinite stone, and infinite cobblestone. Not like we really needed it, but it was more of a thing of, fuck it, might as well have it, right? And so, it, you know, it did its job, and I sold a lot of stone using this machine just to, you know, turn it on for a minute, and all these double chests would be filled with cobblestone. It was insane. But yeah, here's the tree farm again. A funny thing with the tree farm too is that you also couldn't leave the chunk, otherwise the TNT duper would blow up, and I think it blew up at least 6 times, and sometimes it damaged the machine over here. And it was just such a headache. I was just like, oh my god. So I wrote all these signs everywhere. It's like, please do not leave the chunk with this machine on, otherwise it's going to blow up. And eventually I just made a Lightmatica thing of it, and so it was more easy to fix. But oh my god, it was a huge just problem. I was trying to fucking fix this machine. But yeah. Oh, I never got to decorate in this part, unfortunately. But you know, is what it is. And yeah, this is pretty much the end of the tour. I pretty much covered. Actually, wait, hold on. I forgot one other part of the base. So coming down this hallway right here, this is the oops. This is the Casino Royale. This is a casino that I made. I found I wanted to make a poker table in the game, and I knew it was possible, but I'm not fucking smart enough to fucking sit here, and I know I don't have the time to sit here and fuck around with it and try to, you know, make it. So I found a small YouTuber who is making casino games, and he made a poker table, and I was able to follow the tutorial in the video and, you know, copy it block by block. And so all the redstone stuff I, you know, did from a tutorial, but me and Metal Pumpkin decorated the poker, and it turned out super well. Like, this bar area was all by Pumpkin, and he did a phenomenal job on it. So huge shout out to Pumpkin for what was it, making the bar. And then I did the decoration in here with the, you know, the red and black and the floor. And if you've ever been in a casino, they always have that crazy fancy carpet. So I figured the glazed terracotta design like that would match perfectly. And we had a fully functioning poker table. You could totally play poker. There was no real, you know, like bullshit you had to do other than, like, you know, flipping the levers and all that stuff. But a little quick tutorial. You throw a diamond in here. You turn on the lights for each player that's playing. And you would have up to 6 players plus the dealer, and all you had to do is you know, place your bets in the barrel. The dealer was responsible for keeping track of bets and all that, and you know, each player would sit to the chair, and the cards that come up through the chair through a system down here. This was a whole fucking mess, so don't ask me how it works, because I don't know. Come up for the droppers, come up for the chair, and then it would give, when the dealer was ready, all I had to do was hit the note block in the center, and it would shoot up 3 cards for me. I lay them out on the thing. There's item frames here, but you can't see them because of the replay. But there's item frames right here. Put them out there, you know, play your poker, hit it again, one more card will pop out, and then hit it again, another card will pop out. And totally functioning. You could play, you could bet. We've done it multiple times with, you know, we kind of converted it too for like netherite and diamonds. So we play in diamonds sometimes. Sometimes we, you know, we go big balling, go netherite, and it was a lot of fun. This is something I'm definitely going to build again, and I'm going to build a better design too, because there was some flaws with this. It would use multiple decks, so sometimes you get like really crazy like hands that aren't even possible. But the next time I build this, I'm going to build one that uses 1 deck, since I did find a video of one that uses 1 deck instead of 3. But yeah, this was fully functioning poker, and yeah, we got a lot of positive feedback from it, and it also inspired a player named Kinda Jeans, the old leader of the coalition, to come back and attempt to make a casino for all the all the other players for the general server, but that never happened, unfortunately. But yeah, it was super cool. And then over here was the art room. Can't really see it because a lot of it was iron frames, but this is just where we store all the dyes and like the banner patterns and stuff like that. So all the art stuff you do over here. Over here was a zombie spawner, and over here we had a really slow automatic mushroom farm. This was an old mushroom farm that I kind of like updated, I guess you can call it, because back in the day to make a mushroom farm and you just had a dark area of one of each mushroom, let them grow, and then use water to wash them out. But then I made it automatic with an observer and a piston, and so over time it would give mushrooms, but it was super slow. It was really nothing I would really recommend building unless you're really bored or you really want a small mushroom farm like that. Over here we had a axolotl pen. This was a lush cave, so axolotls can actually spawn in there and grab them. And over here was the turtle farm. This was designed by me, and can't see it, but Minecraft runner here. The turtles are in here. All you have to do is breed the turtles to the seagrass, and they drop eggs and scoot. And when the turtles would die from energy cramming, it would give more seagrass than it would use for breeding them. So it was also a seagrass farm too. So it was pretty nice. So this was pretty efficient in itself. And over here is just more tunnels. There's just some little Easter eggs in here. All that fun stuff. And then over here is like my recording studio. I had a working green screen in here, so I could stand here and, you know, make green screen edits of my character or something like that. So it was a lot of fun. Yeah, over here that kind of loops back up to the bank, and that is pretty much it. That is pretty much a majority of the base. It's not all of it. I'm not going to show certain parts of it because they were more private builds of other players. So if you want to see it, you can either ask someone that, you know, who knows the chords to come and check it out for yourself, or ask those certain players to see their builds. But that was more the community aspect of the base. So yeah, so I'm gonna do another video going over the history, since this one is probably, I don't even know how long it is. It's probably getting close to an hour, but or probably even more. So yeah, if you enjoyed the video, please like, comment, and subscribe, and I will catch everybody in the third episode, where I'll be going over the history of the base. And any comments about the base, I will do my best to answer in the comment section below. So thank you for everybody who watched the entire thing, and I'll catch you all later. Peace.